Hey everybody, welcome back to the LuckyDog podcast. This is your host, Elias Roush. This podcast is sponsored by EliasRoushMedia.com, photo, video, digital media production. Today we are discussing the top movies of 2021. We have covered approximately 30 to 40 movies over the course of the year. We were not able to cover every single one of those movies for reviews. However, at the end of the year, I like to do some sort of roundup, like basically a consolidated list of my favorite movies of the year. Now, just because these movies are in my favorite of the year doesn't mean I don't like the movies that aren't in the top 10 list. However, these are the ones that I would recommend the most. So let's start with my number 10. And again, if there's things that are in other people's lists that aren't in mine, I may or may not have seen other lists. And I might not have seen some of their movies as well. So hopefully this list is nice and consolidated in a way that it's got movies that you recognize and some that you're not so familiar with that you were thinking about possibly checking out. So the first movie at number 10 that I would recommend that is in the top 10 for the year is Belfast. Belfast is a 2021 coming-of-age comedy drama written and directed by Kenneth Branagh. The film stars Saoirse Balfe, Judi Dench, Jamie Dornan, and Ciarán Hinds alongside Colin Morgan and newcomer Jude Hill. The film, which Branagh has described as his most personal film, centuries on young boy's childhood amidst the tumult and Belfast, Northern Ireland in the 1960s. I felt this deserved a spot on the top 10 just because it was a smaller, more independent styled film with the cinematography absolutely was gorgeous and gobsmacking. I think the characters do an excellent job embodying a very natural existence of this world. There's not ever a second I don't feel like I'm actually in the 1960s in Northern Ireland. I feel like we get an understanding of the struggle of what it feels like, from the pros and the cons of being in Northern Ireland and living in Northern Ireland, and how people's perspectives are shaped in their eyes. A lot of them were talking about small things about other people in the world can't understand what they're saying because of their thick Irish accent. And I will admit at some points I was having trouble understanding what they were saying, but having captions on obviously is very beneficial in this case. So when people watch this, I would probably recommend watching it with captions. Like I said, when it comes to the natural feeling of being in this world, I really enjoyed it. It kind of reminds me of this year's like Jojo Rabbit, very much the Taika Waititi drama / comedy blend, and I really enjoyed it, along with the young boy that plays. I think it's probably Jude Hill, I believe, is the young child actor. He's really good in it. I enjoyed the hell out of him. And of course, the coming of age aspects of becoming a man, seeing being a man, seeing your becoming a father, grandpa's passing, father becoming the grandpa, and the boy becoming the man, and that kind of introspection with this film. And so that's why this is my number 10. Number 9. Hold on, let me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so my number 9 is me see if I can get it up real quick. Da-da-da. Do the boogie dance, and boom. Let me see. Oh, this is the film. Okay, so it's based off of a biographical musical drama film. It is Tick, Tick, Boom. Is a 2021 American biographical musical drama film directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda in his featured directorial debut, written by Stephen Levinson. It is based off the stage musical of the same name by Jonathan Larson, a semi-autobiographical story about Larson's writing a musical to enter the musical Broadway industry. The film stars Andrew Garfield, Robin DeJesus, Alexandra Shipp, Joshua Henry, Judith Light, and Vanessa Hudgens. Now, I gotta say that I had no idea Andrew Garfield was able to sing. I assume this is him singing. Hold on, real quick. I have not done a review for this. So, did Andrew Garfield sing? Let me see. So yes, he is singing in this movie, and he's also playing the piano, which is pretty impressive. He's a multi-talented actor with all regards, and with his most recent roles, and I'm not going to say too much with his most recent roles, but he's making somewhat of a resurgence in the mainstream media, and I think that he's having somewhat of a renaissance in a way. I think that he'll be gaining a lot more traction with his most recent roles, not only as a dramatic actor, a musical actor. He's able to star in franchises. He seems to be a likable guy. A lot of people seem to like working with him, I believe. I don't know him personally or anything like that, but I think this is only going to elevate his career. The reason I have Tick, Tick, Boom at number 9 is specifically because I wasn't exactly sure how much I was going to enjoy the film. I thought I knew where it was going to end, but the place that it left me in the end felt like so natural that I was really into it. And despite it going full musical in a way that I don't normally like, I don't like when everything just turns into, a singing of how they feel. But I feel like if, I'm singing and this is how I feel and I'm singing, that type of thing. If anyone can do it, I think Andrew Garfield can do it. Mostly because of the story that is put back behind this, this musical. It really got me in a way that I was not expecting at all. The Power of the Dog is my number 8 movie. I meant to pull that up real quick. The Power of the Dog is a 2021 Western psychological drama film written and directed by Jane Campion. I'm a little bit in the dark about Jane Campion. I didn't realize that she was kind of this auteur New Zealand director that has had some pretty notable achievements. Campion is also known for directing films as An Angel at My Table in 1990, Holy Smoke in 98, Bright Star in 2009. And The Piano in 1993. I'm really in the dark about her work, but after watching The Power of the Dog was not initially a movie that I was seriously engaged in. It was one of those movies that kind of felt like an A24 kind of like, what am I watching? Not really knowing what I was supposed to be paying attention to until maybe like the hour-ish mark. And I kind of felt like it was like slices of life in a way, but there's really not an unfolding of understanding what this movie is about until about the last 5 minutes. I think the last 5 minutes, maybe last 10 minutes, completely redefined the film of what you're watching. And I always really enjoy a movie that kind of redecides what kind of movie it is at the end of it. Not that you're Not that it's not like you're feeling like you're watching a suspenseful drama for the majority of it, but you're like, why is it suspenseful? Why does it feel so dreadful? Why is there feel like this heavy burden of this feeling lingering over it? And then at the last 10 minutes, you're like, oh shit. So that's how I kind of felt about this movie. And for more insight in it, I would definitely look up the Power of the Dog articles after you've watched it. The Power of the Dog is one of those movies that you're going to say, like, this is kind of a lot to handle. But then I think just at the way that it reveals itself, you're going to have one of two reactions, like, oh, or oh, like it's all coming together kind of thing. And that's kind of like why I liked it. It stars Benedict Cumberbatch, Kristen Dunst, Jesse Plemons, her real life husband, Cody Smith McPhee, who I have a newfound respect for of his acting ability at this age. Thompson McKenzie's in this. Thompson McKenzie's in this? I didn't even recognize her. I think, isn't this the same young lady from Last Night in Soho? Yeah. Anyways. Let's see. Oh, Miss Frances Conroy's in this as well. Yeah. It has a powerhouse stacked cast. So I would definitely recommend The Power of the Dog. Number 7. Number 7, ShangChi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. ShangChi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a 2001 American superhero film based on Marvel Comics featuring the Marvel character ShangChi, produced by Marvel Studios, distributed by Walt Disney Studios. It's the 25th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We did cover this in our reviews for this year. And I think I did give my reasons for why I think this deserves a spot at number 10. It overtook the other places for other movies, mostly for, I think, the full enjoyment of this movie outshines in the majority of the other ones. For instance, I'll explain a little bit later why I put ShangChi, but I think the dynamic between the main two characters of the father and the son work better for me than I think a lot of people. I definitely see the motivations, I see the struggle, and I think the action behind Tony Leung and Simon Lau. I think is really shown there. And we have strong co-leads. I think the co-stars of like Awkwafina and Michelle Yeoh only make this stronger. I don't think it's a perfect movie just because of some spots in it that feel like where are we going? Just kind of feels like story-driven plots that kind of deter it from being a perfect movie. But I think it's entertaining. I definitely think it's the quote-unquote Black Panther for Asian representation. And I was here for it. I definitely think that it's overall a positive step for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, especially in comparison to something like Eternals. If I do a worst of top 10 for 2021, I'll let you know, but probably have Eternals on there. Okay, number 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 6. I can't believe this came out in 2021. Judas and the Black Messiah, which we did cover this as well in the podcast. Judas and the Black Messiah is a 2021 autobiographical crime drama film about the betrayal of Fred Hampton. played by Daniel Kaluuya, chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party in the late 1960s. I don't want to give too much about this movie if you don't know exactly the story of Fred Hampton and William O'Neill. I will just say that the performances of Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield are one of my favorite performances of the year, along with Dominique Fishback. Absolutely embodied these characters. There wasn't for a second that I didn't feel like this wasn't actually how it went down. I'm sure it was dramatized in a way, but it felt so grounded and felt so real that I, in the fact that it is based off of a true story, I had to put this up there. There's just so many reasons that I think that this works. And the ending is very, very powerful for many reasons. I have this up here. Shaka King, I believe this is his directorial debut. And I was blown away by his directing style, the natural feel of it, the lighting. The music. I think it all worked on all cylinders. So it is a little bit bleak, but I will say because of apparently the historical accuracy, I believe it is pretty historical. It's pretty historical. It's pretty factual and close to the actual tale. That this is a pretty powerful story that needs to be shown. So number 5. We are halfway through the list. I cannot believe that. So number 5, out of almost the 30 to 40 movies, I didn't count how many movies I actually saw this year, but I think it was around 37. So out of approximately the 37 movies, number 5 is this year's Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Dune Part 1. Dune Part 1. Dune is a 2021 American epic science fiction film directed by Denis Villeneuve and written by Villeneuve, John Spadis, and Eric Roth. It is the first of a two-part adaptation of the 1965 novel by Frank Herbert, primarily covering the first half of the book. Set far into the future, it follows Paul Atreides, played by Timothée Chalamet, and his family, the notable House Atreides, as they are thrust into a war for the deadly and inhospitable desert planet Arrakis. So, Dune. I don't think I watched a movie as many times this year as I did Dune. I was so excited to see Dune on HBO Max because I could just experience it and replay it and be in this world as much as I wanted to replay it. I felt like one of those kids from the 80s who wanted to rewatch Star Wars and just be in the world and just have it on in the background for as long as you could. I know the movie is like almost 2.5, 3 hours or something like that. And it doesn't feel like that to me. It feels more like a mini series with 3 separate acts. And I understand that it's not a perfect movie, but the reason that I think you need to see this is because it is so confident in building a brand new world and having it engulfed in this sci-fi epic story. I was here for it. And I think Timothée Chalamet is growing as an actor and growing on me as an actor. But I think Rebecca Ferguson and Oscar Isaac have never been better. And I'm blown away by their talent. I'm blown away by the storytelling. It just feels like grand, epic storytelling on the highest level possible. I mean, it has a super high budget. It looks amazing. I saw this thing on repeat so many times. I probably saw it on 4 or 5 times just at home. And then I saw it one time in IMAX. I was blown away. So I couldn't say anything better than that. So let me see what we got. Yeah, that's Dune 2021. And I actually did go back and rewatch the original Dune just to kind of get a feeling of what the original Dune was supposed to be. The original Dune is based in the 60s, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I need to kind of go back and look. Let me see. Dune. Was it the 80s? Not 60s. Okay, so the original novel was based in the 60s, but the original movie was 1984. So just having that differentiation. Obviously, the special effects are night and day different here. So that's why I'm liking this a lot better than anything else. So yeah, let's hop into number 4. All right, so we are at number 4. Number 4. King Richard. Okay, I admit, I just realized that I have a lot of biographical drama films on here. What is this? Sort of Belfast, definitely Tick, Tick, Boom. Sort of Judas and the Black Messiah. Now King Richard. I kind of have a reputation for putting these biographical films up here. So anyways, King Richard is a 2021 American biographical drama film directed by Ronaldo Marcus Green and written by Zach Balin that follows the life of Richard Williams, the father and coach of famed tennis players Venus and Serena Williams, who serve as the executive producers of the film. It stars Will Smith in the title role. And I'm sorry if I butcher these names. And Jonu Ellis and Sanaya Sidney, Demi Singleton, Tony Golrin, and John Bernthal. I was blown away by this movie. Of course, it's hard not to like Will Smith, but in the past couple years, he hasn't had a really big hit that I've been like, whoa, that's Will Smith. This was the movie I was like, whoa, that's Will Smith. You know, that's the Pursuit of Happiness tears coming out, some Oscar tears. So let me see if I can find his last big role. I can't, filmography. Will Smith must have an entire wiki page just on his filmography. Yeah, but the last one that I remember is like, here's his filmography. Yeah, he has an entire page dedicated to his filmography. Okay, so before King Richard, I don't think I've really liked him too much in too many movies. What do we got? Bad Boys for Life. He was okay in that. Spies in Disguise. That's animated. Gemini Man. Wasn't crazy about that. Aladdin was the last thing I really remember him in. Wasn't crazy about Aladdin. Yeah, and I don't think he's really had a big hit, a big dramatical hit like this since dramatic hit since maybe Focus or Concussion. I don't even think those were even received that well. But yeah, I don't think he's had a big performance like this since maybe like 7 Pounds, which was back in like 2008. I was just like, I don't know about all this. So Sounds like someone's getting a little bit of food. Let me go close that door. Oh, I can't have people. Oh, we back. Sorry. So anyways, I have not seen him in anything really too much that has been impressive as King Richard. And it's not just Will Smith. I know that I just went through all of his filmography to see what the last thing he's done. It's not just Will Smith. It is the young girls as well that are playing Venus and Serena. The fact that they are able to have legitimate girls that are great actresses, they are able to play tennis, and it's believable that they are a family. There's not really a second that I don't feel like Will Smith is part of this family. I mean, I got lost in the sauce like watching him. He became Richard Williams, and I understand that this is more of a color-coded version of Richard Williams. It's way more in the positive light, not so much showing all aspects of who Richard Williams was. But with saying that, I still felt like I understood his struggle. I understood that he wasn't a perfect guy, but I understood that he also was very much working as a team with his wife for much of it. And I know that it doesn't completely serve the at-home story to the degree that it probably could. It could be more detailed. It could be a little bit more critical of quote-unquote King Richard, even though they do show him as kind of hard to work with from the coaching standpoint. Whatever he did, him and his wife, whoever the team, the coaches, the factors that came into building these professional tennis players of color is just brilliant, and it's beautiful to watch. I do kind of wish it was a little bit more critical of Richard Williams, of his personal life a little bit more, although there are scenes in here that you'll be like, oh my God. That's pretty deep. That's pretty hard. And I praise it for at least tempting to go to that direction. I do feel like it does get in Richard's face and say, yes, you are kind of hard to deal with. Yes, the things that you've done kind of have hurt people, but you've also created some amazing superstars. So let me see what else we got. Okay, so that is King Richard. We have not covered that as a review yet. I might go back and do that. But I was super impressed by King Richard. Number 3 movie. Anyone can guess it? The Harder They Fall. The Harder They Fall is a 2021 American revisionist Western film directed by James Samuel, who co-wrote the screenplay with Baz Yatkin. So this has one of the best casts of the year. Jonathan Majors, Idris Elba, Zazie Beetz, Regina King, Delroy Lindo, Lakeith Stanfield, R.J. Kyler, Danielle DeWeiler, Eddie Gathiki, and Dion Cole. It is there's not a bad role. There's no small parts. Everything from the direction, from the music, from the cinematography blows me away. Do you see this fade right here on my head if you're watching this? I had regular hair this before watching The Harder They Fall, and it just completely shimmed. It blew it away. So, I'm just kidding, but I am serious with saying that from pretty much all aspects of this movie. It blew me away. It kept me entertained. I was like, holy shit! The twist, the music, the cast. The Harder They Fall has to be seen, in my opinion. It's one of the best pieces of media I have seen on Netflix. Number 2. Well, it is coming up on grossing almost $1.5 billion. Spider-Man No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home is a 2021 American superhero film based off the Marvel Comics comic book character Spider-Man, co-produced by Columbia Pictures and Marvel Studios, distributed by Sony Pictures. So yeah, it's the sequel to the Spider-Man Homecoming movie, and everyone knows, if you were involved in the MCU at all or have any inkling about it, they've basically been adding a superhero to almost each of Spider-Man's movies. So without going into too many details about this movie is basically a culmination of multiple franchises into one. And that is why it is successful. We had a pretty in-depth review about why I really did like Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't think it's perfect. I think the first half struggles a little bit to find its footing, but once it does find its footing, the emotional highs and dramatic lows that you experience in the Spider-Man movie might be some of the best in all of the Spider-Man franchises. I can't say enough good things about the supporting cast. Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I feel like this movie matures our Spider-Man in so many ways. This isn't a movie that could always happen. It's one of those like not once in a lifetime, but every once in a while kind of thing. But it still just blows my mind that they're able to do it to this degree. So if you have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home at this point, like I said, you need to do your research on the previous franchise involvements and watch the old Spider-Mans, and you'll greatly benefit from understanding what's happening in this movie. So yeah, that is Spider-Man No Way Home, the second movie, number 2 of top movies, top 20 of 2021. So our number 1 film for 2021 is, can anyone guess it? Nope. Nobody? All right. But I don't know who I'm talking to. I'm not even live. So, all right. The top movie for 2021 for me is should have had this up. Bo Burnham Inside. Who could have guessed? Bo Burnham Inside is a 2021 American written, special, directed, filmed, edited, and performed by comedian Bo Burnham. This gets my number 1 spot simply because of creativity. The fact that I think the majority of this was created all in about one room by one person is just incredible to even think about, from the direction to the cinematography, the camera placement, all the way to the music. Now, if anybody's like, what the heck is Bo Burnham's Inside? Bo Burnham's Inside, I think, can best be described as a digital castaway. At the very beginning of the pandemic, when we were all specifically locked inside of our homes, many people were starting to lose their minds, lose their shit, lose their, sanity. And Bo Burnham was getting ready to come back out onto the big stage into, the comedy realm, because he had taken a break for a little bit due to stress. But then COVID happened, and then it was all shut it down. And so all of his creative juices and everything that he was experiencing at that time, kind of rapidly deteriorating mental health, he puts all of his talent all into this special. And in my opinion, I think that this special does do an excellent job of encapsulating just how a lot of us felt during the early times of the pandemic, given that when I watched it, I thought that we were getting out of the pandemic. It was around the time of Delta was happening. I was hoping that Omicron wasn't going to be a thing, but this was before Delta and Omicron was even on the map, other variants and stuff. So it might change based on, where we are in the pandemic. But I feel like this is ultimately an optimistic take on what it's been like. And so, let's only support, good art that needs to be seen. I obviously understand that there's disappointing art that some people are like, well, that probably needs to be seen too. But I think that this is optimistic, positive art, obviously by one person that, I think deserves to be on the top of the list, mostly because the film in itself and just the vignette style of him kind of explaining, having sketch comedy, having musical acts, musical breaks, almost like TikTok style of changing the different styles. It's entertaining as hell. It's introspective as hell. And extremely relatable, I guess. So let me know what your top 10 movies of 2021 were. I have a full list of movies that I've seen, and not all of them made it. Mostly just might have been one or two nitpicks I had about them that they didn't make it to the top 10. But I'm curious to hear what everybody else thought about this year in movies. I did feel like I thought we were going to have more movies this year, but I guess there were more delays from, these were all the movies, a big chunk of them were from the 2020 release that got pushed back. So it'd be interesting to see what everybody thought about the 2021 year. So like, share, subscribe. You know what to do. Support LuckyDog Podcast. Any of the links in the description, LuckyDogPodcast.com for all the social medias and to support. That's where you do it. Thank you, and take it easy.